Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. In one of my photo cleanup videos I presented you the new Panasonic mirrorless camera, a real small mirrorless camera. You may know the GM1, and here we have the follower, that's the GM5. And there are some differences and new points of the GM5 which are very interesting. Coming to the first point and the most important point of the GM5, most photographers of the GM1 complain because there's no viewfinder. They said it's a small camera, it's a nice camera, but it's a camera without a viewfinder, and if you're seriously in photography, you want to have a viewfinder. And so Panasonic did the good job, and yes, we have the viewfinder, we have the electronic viewfinder in the GM5, and this is one of the most important points. And it's still a small camera because it's important for the users that they have a small camera, a lightweight camera, and this is the GM5 is still very small. If you look careful, you will see, if you look to the front of the camera, you will see this is the top line of the camera, and the buttons here, the dials here, the program dial, the shutter release and the focus dial are in the body of the camera. They are not on the body of the camera, but they seem to be that they are in the body. On the GM1 they were on top of the camera body, so they were a little bit over the body. So the camera, this one, the GM5, is only 5 millimeters higher than the old one. Only 5 millimeters, but we have the electronic viewfinder. The length is exactly the same of the camera. It's a little bit thicker because when you look, you see that the viewfinder is here, and this gives the camera a little bit more thickness than the GM1, but it's still only some millimeters. And the weight of the camera is almost exactly the same. I think 7 grams is the GM5 heavier than the old one. So we have still a very small and nice camera, and we have a camera with a big sensor. It's the Micro Four Thirds sensor, as in the GM1, 16 megapixel. It's exactly the same size and resolution like in the GX7 and G6 camera, 16 megapixel Micro Four Thirds sensor. So that gives you a real good quality, gives you enough space for the depths of field. So yeah, that's a real nice small camera. There are some more improvements, not only the viewfinder, and this I will show you in the next few minutes. Coming to the first point of the camera, when you look on the top of the GM5, we have the program dial, starts with PASM, and then we have the video function, custom function, panorama function, then we have the scene mode with different scene programs, and the art filters, and the intelligent autofocus, where the camera makes the settings by themselves. We have the shutter release and on-off switch. Here we have the different focus settings, starting with AFS, autofocus single, AFC, autofocus continuous, and then we have the manual focus. And if you look carefully, you will see, yes, we have an external, or we have a flash shoe for the external flash. I like this very much, but on the other side we don't have the internal flash. The GM1 had the internal flash, and now the GM5 doesn't have the internal flash. The reason is very simple, because we have the viewfinder here, and at the place where the viewfinder is, we had the internal electronic flash at the GM1, so this one went off, and now we have the flash shoe. And Panasonic gives you with the camera a small flash. It's exactly the same like the LX100, because the LX100 also has now the electronic viewfinder, and the flash is gone, but you have the flash shoe, and you get also the small external flash which you can put on the camera. So it's the same idea behind these two cameras with the electronic viewfinder. It's more important to have an electronic viewfinder than to have an internal flash, and that's the reason why they move the internal flash out and give you an external flash. And so you have more options with an external flash, because with a GM1 you didn't have these options, and now you can put a bigger flash on the camera. So I like this this way more, to have an electronic viewfinder instead of having an external flash. Coming to the back side of the camera, here we have the button to change between the electronic viewfinder and the monitor. We have the Wi-Fi button, replay button, the dial here, and it's still a dial which you also can press, a combination dial which you can press and make different settings in the camera. I'll show you later how this will work. We have the movie button to start a movie, the four-way button with white balance, the different serial modes, focus modes, ISO setting, and the menu button in the middle. Here we have the quick menu button and the display button. That's it. Now let's start the camera. You start the camera, it says please turn the zoom ring. Yes, we turn the zoom ring. The camera is equipped with a 12 to 32 millimeter zoom lens. That's compared to a DSLR camera, it's 24 millimeter to 64 millimeter. It's a very compact lens, but still with a good quality. So let's have a look on the monitor. And yes, it's a touchscreen monitor. I like this very much. I don't know why they didn't put in the LX100 a touchscreen, because they put here a touchscreen, and I like this one very much, because when you're in the quick menu, and that's the first point I want to show you, the quick menu, when you're in the quick menu, you can change the settings very fast and very easy just by pressing the button. Like here, the resolution, you can change between JPEG, JPEG and RAW, and only RAW, just by putting your finger on the symbol and change the different settings. You can also change the different video resolutions, the aspect ratio of the picture or picture settings. You can set the photo style from vivid to the different to monochrome and so on. So that's very easy to change the different settings, and I like this one very much. I like the touchscreen monitor very much, and I like how Panasonic solve the different settings and how easy it is to change the different settings of the camera. Going to the menu to give you a quick overview which new functions and which settings we have in the menu. So in the menu we have going to the first point, we have the different photo styles, and if we go to the different photo styles and go to the monochrome setting, we have the different filters here which we can use. We have the yellow, orange, red and green filter. Orange, red and yellow is mainly for landscape photography. If you want to have a real dark blue sky in your black and white picture, you should use either yellow, orange or the red filter. The green one is if you want to make portraits, because if you use the green filter, the skin comes very nice in the black and white picture and gives you a real nice black and white image of the skin when you use the green filter. So going up to the standard setting, back to the standard option, here we are. Next point is very important, and I like this one also very much. We have the filter select. Yes, you can select the filters now in the menu, and the good point is you can select the filters also if you are in the PAS or M mode, or if you're in the panorama or in the video mode. In former cameras from Panasonic, you only can choose the different filter settings just by turning the dial to the filter option, then you can change the different filter settings. But in this option you cannot set the individual parameters of the camera. And now it's much better solved. You can go to the option PASM, Panorama and Video function, and also in this function you can use the different filters. And if you use one of the filters, I show you the one of the interesting filters which I like very much. That's the sunshine filter. And if you have selected the sunshine filter, you will see on the screen that there is a small symbol on the right side. And if you press this symbol, you can choose different settings. If you press this one, you have the different colors which you can choose from: yellow, red, blue, or white for the sun. If you want to change the position of the sun, just press this button and then you can move the sun here on your screen. And if you turn the dial, you can set the size of the sun also. So you have different options, and it's very important if you use one of the different filters to look if there's a symbol here at the side. If you go like on the black and white, we can change here to black and white, like the rough monochrome. If you're on the rough monochrome, you see you have the symbol again here, and if you press the symbol, you can change here the different settings of the grain just by turning the dial. Or if you don't want to turn the dial, just move the slider here, and so you can change the size and the intensity of the grain. So that's very important to know. If you see the symbol here at the side, you can make individual settings of the filters. You also can make individual settings here in this functions. If you have a zoom lens, a motor zoom lens, you can change the focal length just by moving the slider. And yes, we have the touch focusing. So if you are in a touch focusing, you want to focus here on my hand, okay, excuse me. So if you want to focus on my hand, you can see just pressing the screen and the camera focus and releases. So you not only have the option to focus with the touch screen, you also have the option to make the shutter release also with the touch screen. Going back to no effects, here we are. No effects, we have the aspect ratio, we have the picture size, 16 megapixel, quality as I showed before, raw is for sure that you have raw, metering mode, burst rate. These 2 points, burst rate, auto bracketing and self timer, in the menu you make the setting of these 3 points. And if you made the setting, auto bracket, I show you 7 pictures with 1/3 step difference. If you did the setting here, you press the button, the down button here on the 4-way button, and then you can set up the drive mode. So first select it in the menu and then select it here in the drive mode menu. If you didn't select one in the drive mode menu, nothing happens. So even if you make here a setting with a self timer, burst rate, auto bracketing, as long as you don't change it here in the drive mode, you won't get the result in the camera. If you want to reset everything, go to this point and then the camera is reset and you have single mode and nothing happens. So that's very important. Make the settings in the menu and then choose it on the drive mode button here at the 4-way button. Next point is highlight shadow. Here you can make the different settings by turning the dial, and that's one point where you can use the second function of the dial just by pressing the dial, and then you change or toggle between the highlights and the shadows. Press again and you toggle between highlight and shadow and turn the dial and make your setting. So that's one thing where you see the different options of the dial just by pressing the dial and change between 2 different settings. eye dynamic, eye resolution, HDR, yes, multi-exposure, time-lapse shot. You have the different settings here for the time-lapse shot. And then you have also the stop motion animation. Panorama direction is not highlighted because I have to turn the dial to the panorama function, then it would be highlighted. Next point is the shutter type. Yes, we have two different shutters here at the GM5. We have the mechanical and the electronic shutter. But one point, if you go, I can show you, if you go to the electronic shutter or to the mechanical shutter, it says use the electronic front curtain type only. And if you go to the to this one, it's the electronic shutter type only. Honestly, I don't know what they mean with electronic front curtain type only. I did it also in the German video. I don't know exactly what this means, but it's a mechanical shutter and it works like a mechanical shutter, and you don't have the problem like with an electronic shutter where you have the problems with the light stripes in the picture if you work with artificial lights. So if you use the mechanical shutter, you don't have these problems. But one limitation with the electronical shutter you have, if you go to the mechanical shutter and you make the switch here to the shutter speed, you will recognize that the shortest shutter time in the mechanical shutter is 1/500th of a second. So this is the shortest time in the mechanical shutter you can use. If you go down to the longest time, you will see that we have up to 60 seconds. Here we are, 60 seconds. Now I change to the electronical shutter and you will see electronical shutter, and you will see that the longest exposure time is 1 second in the electronic shutter. You see 1 second, but the shortest shutter time now goes up to dial. Shortest shutter time is 1/16,000 seconds. That the shortest shutter time if you use the electronic shutter. So that's the difference between the two shutters. The electronic shutter, you may have problems with artificial lights and the rolling shutter effect. Using the mechanical shutter, you have a shortest time of 1/500 second, longest time 30 seconds. And very important, if you want to use an electronic flash or a flashlight, you have to use the mechanical shutter, and you couldn't use the electronic shutter. Coming back to the menu, red eye removal, ISO limit, ISO increments, extended ISO. Yes, extended ISO on means we can go from ISO 100 up to ISO 25,600. So that's the range we can change the ISO setting 100 up to 25,600. Shading compensation, tailor converted, digital zoom, color space, stabilizer, face recognition, and profile setup. These are the functions in the photo section. Coming now to the video section, and again we have the photo styles, and as I said before, we have the filter selects here, so we can use different filters for taking a video. We can use old days or high key, and so yes, we have the option to use the filters for our videos. Snap movie, that's a nice feature where you can make short movies in different lengths, 8, 6, 5 or 4 or 2 seconds lengths. Try this one. It's a nice feature for a small and for like a video diary or stuff like this. That's Snap Movie. Now we come to the REC format. Yes, again we have AVC HD and MP4. These are the two different video formats we have. And new, when you go to the REC quality, you will see we have Full HD with 50p. Yes, we have 50p on the GM5. The GM1 didn't have 50p, only 50i, so the interlaced version in Full HD, but now with the GM5 we have the progressive mode 50p, and we have also 50i and the option for 24p for the cinema mode. And the data rate goes up to 28 megabits per second. So yes, it's also better. The video function is better in the GM5 than we had it in the GM1. Then we have the picture mode, continuous autofocus, metering mode, highlight shadow, the same like we have in the photo section, eye dynamic, eye resolution, and digital zoom, and then the microphone level and wind cut. So these are the options in the video. Coming to the custom menu. And in the custom menu, one nice point is the silent mode. And if you turn the silent mode on, the camera switches automatically to the electronic shutter. So you don't have to choose the electronic shutter when you are in the silent mode, because it's automatically set to the electronic shutter. And you will see this also in the menu, because if you go to the menu, you will see that the point shutter type here at the top, the point shutter type isn't highlighted, so you can't change the different settings in the camera menu when the silent mode is on. Half press release. These points, except for the eye sensor autofocus and the settings for the electronic viewfinder, these points are the same like in the GM1. There are no difference. These are the typical Panasonic menus, which you can see here. There are no big differences between the Panasonic menus. We have also the manual focus assist, manual focus guide, and we have the peaking options if you want to make the manual focusing histogram, and so on. So there are not the big differences between the Panasonic cameras in the menus. One important point, the video button, because the camera is very small, the video button is here at the thumb rest at this side. If you have a big thumb, it accidentally can happen that you start the video function here. And so it's a good choice if you don't want to make movie. It's a good choice to turn the video button off, so you can't accidentally hit the button and start a video and mess up your SD card with a 2-hour video because you put the camera in your pocket and start a video just by putting the camera in the pocket. So that's a good choice to switch off the video button. Okay, so eye sensor, that's what I said before. We have the eye sensor, so that's a new function of the GM5 because the old one didn't have the electronic viewfinder. Touch settings, touch scroll, menu guide, and that's it. And I think the setup menu, I don't have to show the setup menu. You know what you will see in the setup menu. There are all the different USB TV connections, stuff like this. One important point, we have the Wi-Fi menu, and we have the Wi-Fi menu like all in all the other Panasonic cameras. We have the transmission in the background. You can remote control the camera from your smartphone, iPhone or Android system. So you have all these options in this small camera like you have it in the big one, the GX7 and the G6. Electronic shutter, I said before, touchscreen, better video functions. These are the most important things. We have the art filters now available also in PASM, not only as a standalone art filter. Yes, so we have a real nice package, a complete package in the camera. If you want to know something about the quality of the electronic viewfinder, let's be honest, it's a very small electronic viewfinder, but you see the picture, you have a good control. In bright sunlight you will see your scene, you have the option to see your scene, you have the option to set the focus point to manual focus, and in my opinion, that's for me the most important point. Yes, the quality of the viewfinder is important, but for me it's more important to have a viewfinder, because in the bright sunlight I can see nothing on the screen here, and as you can see I take specs, and if I want to change the menu, I have to hold the camera like this, and with the electronic viewfinder, I put the camera in front of my eye, press the menu button, make the settings. I can also change the different settings, not only the settings in the menu, but I can also change the quick menu settings. And for me, that's very good. And for me, a viewfinder is absolutely a must-have in a camera like this, which is a little bit more advanced. Only a point-and-shoot camera for snapshots, that's okay, there you don't need a viewfinder. But for a camera like this, with a big micro four thirds sensor, you can use really nice lenses also from Olympus. You can use the 12mm, 24, 90mm lens from Olympus, the Pro lenses. So you can equip the camera with real perfect and real good lenses. And for this, I need the electronic viewfinder. It's absolutely important to have the electronic viewfinder in a camera which is a little bit more advanced than a point-and-shoot camera. Yeah, so these are the main points. One thing, we have a dioptry correction here at the side of the camera, and this slider works. Works very, very light. So if you put the camera in your pocket and hold the thumb on it, you may change the setting here of the dioptry correction. So it can happen that you have to change it when you put the camera out of your pocket and have to control if the diopter control is perfect. Yes, so these are the most important functions and interesting functions of the new GM5. The Panasonic cameras are very similar to each other, so you have the same settings, the same menus, and this is a big advantage, because if you use the GH4 or the GX7 and you want to have a small camera which fits in your pocket and want nothing to learn, because you know the menus, you know how to work with the camera, this is a real good option to have a small lightweight camera with a real good picture quality. I don't know any camera in a size like this with all these options and all the functions we have, an electronic viewfinder, touchscreen and all this stuff. I think this is it is the smallest and lightweightest mirrorless camera with an all-over package like this. And as I said before, if you're an Olympus user, OMD, EM1, EM10, EM5, or if you use one of the Panasonic cameras, GX7, GH4 or G6, this is a real good camera to have it all the time with you. You don't have to pack up a real big camera like the other ones. You have it in your pocket, but you have the picture quality, and that's the best thing with this camera. Okay, so that was my presentation of the Panasonic Lumix GM5 mirrorless camera, 16 megapixel sensor. Good picture quality, touchscreen, viewfinder, everything you need in a camera like this, and lightweight, small, fits in your pocket. If you like my presentation, yes, please give me a like here, leave some comments, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to support me, buy over one of my Amazon links, then you can support the Foto-Bude and my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching me. Come back again, there are coming up some more interesting videos, and as always I say bye and moin moin.